What's going on? Welcome to the Pinstripe Chronicles. I am your man Donald here, and we are going to break down some more Yankee hot stove discussions. We got Cody Bellinger on the docket today. What's going on, everybody? Let's say hello to everybody in the chat. What's going on? What's going on? Good morning to you all. Well, it's pretty freaking cold where I'm at. I'll be honest. It's pretty cold. However, it ain't quite as cold as the Yankee hot stove. Now, that is significantly colder. So, Jack Curry, he discussed our recent rumors, and he kind of poured some cold water on a lot of stuff. But he's just, and I think Michael K was like, can you give these guys some good news? And he's just like, I'm just being honest. So you take it from what you have, and it looks like the Yankees' plan A, B, and C is Cody Bellinger. That is the Yankees' plan A, B, and C. Meanwhile, Kyle Tucker's sitting on the free agent market, and he's not quite got the market that I think he anticipated. Meanwhile, Cody Bellinger is clearly, for me, like a tier below Kyle Tucker, maybe even two clear tiers below Kyle Tucker. But of course, because this is the Yankees, they prioritize the guy that's 2 or 3 tiers below the star. There you go. That's the new Yankee way. Bo Bichette is also sitting there in the free agent market. Makes a ton of sense. The Yankees like him, but they don't view him as a shortstop. And as you know, Anthony Volpe has a job for life at shortstop. So that means you'd have to play him at third or second. Obviously, he is not a great glove. So where would he best fit? The Yankees are tied to McMahon now, and they've got Jazz Chisholm for another year. So where is that fit necessarily? Not sure. Question there. So it looks like the Yankees' plan A, B, and C is Cody Bellinger, and then to convince all of you fans that it's job well done. They're ready for a world championship. Let's have a look and see what we got going on in the chat. So everybody say hello. This is going to be an interactive show. So, your comments are going to get highlighted, and we'll talk some ball here. It's just me, myself, and I. Uncle T is unavailable, and so it's just the two of us. Now it's just the one of us. So we got Jonathan in the chat. Good morning, Jonathan. You are the early bird. So congratulations to you. We got John the Beagle Dad. What's going on, Big? No, I don't think Bellinger is close to making a decision. Pivot, he says. You would hope so, but I don't trust the Yankees will. We got Sherry in the chat. What's going on, Cher? The rumors in Jays land is that the Jays are getting more aggressive to get Tucker signed soon. That would be a disaster for the Yankees. Because Kyle Tucker is the much better player. And he legitimately makes the Blue Jays a better team, as they were pretty damn good last year, but he'll make them even better. We got Armand in the chat. I'm sure Armand is licking his New York wins just as much as I am, considering both the Yankees and the Mets have done basically the square root of zip so far. Yeah, Sherry's right. Once Tucker's signed, then Belly will get. And I do believe that Tucker sets the market. Bellinger will then follow. But I don't believe the market is there that Bellinger thought, and I don't believe the market is there that Tucker thought. There's some rumors out there, some strong rumors out there that Tucker may have to agree to a short-term deal, in which case it makes the fact that the Yankees are out on him all the crazier. Because the big question mark with Kyle Tucker was not his ability, not his talent, not his all-star status. It's really, would you really want to give him like an 11-year deal, 10-year deal worth $40 million, something like that? That was the only question regarding Kyle Tucker. if you can get him on a short-term deal, then there's no reason why you shouldn't be jumping in on that as a priority rather than Cody Bellinger. We got Mo Money in the chat. Get Tucker on a short-term deal. You are right. That is exactly the way it should be. Louis says the lockout is the reason. I'm sick of this lockout. And you're right, but I'm getting sick of this conversation because at the end of the day, the Blue Jays don't care and the Dodgers don't care. So why should the Yankees care? Let's be honest. Armand, I believe Jazz is traded. It's just to move Volpe to second when he returns. If Jazz is traded, it's moved to Volpe to second when he returns and call up Lombard when ready, and will rotate Cabby, Cabrera, and others between second and short for the start of the season. I don't believe that they're going to move Volpe to second, my friend. They are so committed to him. It's untrue. Like, it's so. I can't even have enough words to describe how committed they are to Anthony Volpe. So, I mean, just last year we had Aaron Boone literally beating the table, going, "He's." So, to then move him to second, that would be them admitting their mistake. I've never seen the Yankees admit to their mistake once since 2018, so I'm not expecting that to happen anytime soon. Lombard is a good year anyway. He's a good year away anyway, probably a year and a half. So I don't think Lombard's going to be part of the conversation. The only argument is that if they trade Jazz, they sign Bo Bichette and put him at second. So I'm not sure about moving Volpe to second, I'm afraid. Okay, well, we got John the Beagle Dad. Short-term deals mean that the player will want more. Well, I don't think it'll be a crazy amount. Nothing that the Yankees shouldn't be exploring anyway. So let's look at this. Let's look at this Cody Bellinger thing here. Talking Yanks are saying that Scott Boras and Cody Bellinger are probably seeking a 6-year deal worth $30 million per year. I mean, come on. Is there any debate here? Because he should not be getting 6 years for $30 million a year. Like, not at all. But we shouldn't even be having a debate here. We shouldn't even be entering in those negotiations. That's crazy. 6 years, $30 million per year? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Is there anyone in the chat that would pay him 6 years at $30 million per year? I want to have that conversation because I know there's a lot of Cody fans out there, and I mean he's a good player, but let's be honest. Let's be completely honest here. I mean, yeah, he bats 260, right? 20 plus homers. That's not worth 6 years and $30 million. Come on. So let's see what those in the chat says here. Healing Men's Heart says 4, maybe 5 years tops. 5 at the very most. Sherry, I wouldn't even give him 5. 4, I think is his range here. I would not pay Bellinger 6 years, $30 million. Why not? Hey, okay. Here's one way we could do it to make both sides happy. Offer him a 5-year deal. However, it's opt-out laden. It's an opt-out laden deal so that there is no long-term commitment. There is an opt-out after year 1 and after year 3 or 4, something like that. Team opt-out. That means that there is no long-term commitment. That means that if he sucks next year, we can opt out and do the smart thing and re-enter the market, which we should be doing anyway. Hopefully with a better GM and an owner that gives a shit. But that's what I would do as an alternative. Healing Man's Heart says that probably is the way to go. Kind of like Imai's contract with the Stros. Exactly. Now, will he accept that? Probably not. However, there's not a big market for him. A lot of teams have been backing away, and the Yankees are afraid to bid against themselves here. I think it's the Mets that quite like him. I don't think they like him as much as the Yankees do. It's between the Mets and the Yankees. The Yankees actually hold a lot of the cards here, whereas Cody Bellinger and Scott Boras thinks that they hold the cards. I think the Yankees hold the cards here. But Brian Cashman ruined his leverage before the negotiation started by saying that he really wants Cody Bellinger back and this team's better with Cody Bellinger and they're focused on Cody Bellinger. That took away a lot of his leverage. He should have shut his mouth. But this is Brian Cashman we're talking about. He's been an underperforming GM for a while now, and this offseason absolutely proves it. He should have just kept his mouth shut because now he has no leverage. Now Scott Boras thinks, oh, wow, okay, so the Yankees' plan A, B, and C is Cody Bellinger. Right, well, we want 6 years. He should have absolutely shut his mouth. The Cubs seemed interested. I don't really think the Cubs are a serious factor here because they let Cody Bellinger go, bro. They let him go. They accepted a trade where it was just a dump. It was just a salary dump. So I don't know how interested the Cubs are seriously into him. So that's my point here. How much leverage does Bellinger really have in these negotiations? Let's be honest here. If you look at his career, we've talked about this. Over his last 6 years, 4 of them have been below average, okay? And his last 2 stops have willingly allowed him to go, right? How many all-stars and how many superstars are teams willing just to take a salary dump just to get rid of? Let's be honest. Let's be absolutely honest here. My point is Cody Bellinger is not a superstar. And he ain't even a star. He should not have this kind of leverage, and he is not worth 6 years. Absolutely not. If you sign him to a 6-year deal with no opt-outs, or even a 5-year deal with no opt-outs, that's a depreciating asset as soon as it's signed. Locked in, guaranteed. Depreciating asset as soon as it's signed. That's not smart business. So if the Yankees are going to do this, they need to have some incentives in there and some opt-outs in there so that they have a fail-safe. Because Cody Bellinger is not guaranteed to give you the kind of year that he had last year. Very often he has a hot year and a down year. Up year, down year. He very much has that if you look at his career in general. Up and down, up and down. That's the Cody Bellinger story. And I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad player, not by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, he was absolutely vital to this team last year. I'm not saying he wasn't. But when discussing contracts, you kind of have to be looking at his whole body of work. You can't just get too caught up in everything. You have to take a step back and really review, where he is as a player. So I think we should do that right now. So let's really look at where Cody Bellinger is right now. Okay, so he's 30. And he's wanting 5 to 6 years. Now, this past year was great. No doubt about it. So for those saying that I'm a hater, no, there's no way you could say I'm a hater when you have an 800 OPS and a 125 OPS plus. 480 slug is okay. On base percentage is not too bad. 98 RBIs, you'll take that. 29 homers, it's fine. 270 batting average, okay. A good year, okay? A good year. But let's also look at his full body of work, all right? Before we get all excited and like, oh, $30 million, let's sign him up. Let's look at what he did with the Cubs in 2024. This is him at just age 28, just 18 home runs. I'm sorry. You can get somebody a hell of a lot cheaper to give you 18 home runs, okay? 260 batting average, an on-base percentage of just 325, 426 slug. I mean, if he performed next year like he did in 2024, then the contract's already a bust. Let's be honest, because that's not a good year. 750 OPS, nah, and just a 2 WAR. So 18 homers, 260 batting average, 320 on base percentage. I mean, that is some bog standard numbers. This guy is not a star. That's some bog standard numbers, okay? So that's 2024. Then the Cubs willingly took a salary dump just to get rid of him for Cody Bellinger, and then they never even kept Cody Bellinger. So 2023, though, that was a very similar year to he had in 2025. 26 homers, 97 RBIs as opposed to 29 and 98. 307 batting average, you love that. 356 on base percentage, you love that. Is actually even better than he had in 2025. A slug of 520, it's beautiful. And an 880 OPS. So actually, you could probably make the argument he had a better year in 2023 than he did in 2025. So it kind of follows that trend. But then in 2022, the year before, a 1 WAR with just just 19 homers and just 68 RBIs and a 210 batting average and a 265 on base percentage. Oh boy, an OPS plus of 81. It needs to be 100, and his was 19 points below average. You know what I'm saying here? So it very much follows a trend. It's down, up, down, up. What I'm saying is he's very inconsistent. And then we're even looking at 2021 here, and that was one of the worst seasons I've ever seen. How do you get a -1 WAR, considering all the versatility he offers? -1.6 WAR in 2021. A 165 batting average. That's horrible. And you're saying, oh, yeah, that's just an anomaly. Well, what about 2020? 12 homers, 30 RBIs. He only played 56 games because he was hurt. But that's just age 24. And he followed his MVP year with 3 straight garbage years, right? He had one, then he had a good year, then another down year. So prior to this past year, I can strongly say that 4 of his past 5 years, he was a bad baseball player. Prior to last year. Now, when you consider that, is he really worth 5 or 6 years? Is he seriously worth 5 or 6 years at $30 million? I've just shown you the stats. There's no bias there. The stats are the stats. There's no agenda here. The stats are the stats. 4 out of his past 6 years, right through his 20s, he was below average. It's not about hating. It's about telling the truth. It's about telling the truth. So when you look at that, how can you really seriously say, oh yeah, let's pay him $30 million. Let's give him 6 years without any opt-outs? You have to really seriously take a step back. And I think a good front office, a smart front office that's firing on all cylinders would be considering these aspects. But Brian Cashman already took away his leverage by saying, we want Cody Bellinger. Let's hope we can get Cody Bellinger. It was all about Cody Bellinger. Now he's got no leverage. Now Scott Boras is like, great. Let's ask 6. Let's demand 7. Let's see. Hard to make a case for it now, Donald. You make a great case. I'm just being realistic here. It's not really about an agenda. I like Bellinger as a player. The ideal scenario for me was that if he opted into his deal, his final year of his contract, And then had he another good year, then I wouldn't be having this discussion. If he followed up last year with another good year, then I would be like, pay him what he wants. He's obviously turned it around. That's fine. But I can't base too much on just 1 year because I've already seen it. It follows that trend. He has a good year and down year, good year, down year. It's too inconsistent for me to give a huge contract to. And we have to pay attention to these things because the Yankees ain't the Yankees anymore. Let's be honest, the Yankees ain't the Yankees anymore. The Yankees no longer pay to cover up their mistakes anymore. They don't really do it. So if they have a bad contract, they're cooked. Just look at what happened to them giving Aaron Hicks that extension. That cooked them for years. Cooked them. The DJ LeMahieu contract cooked them. Because the Yankees don't really now like they used to, because the Yankees made some mistakes back in the day, but they are always aggressive in the free agent market. So, like a bad contract here and there, they would just like write it off. But Hal Steinbrenner doesn't do that. So nowadays, if you got a DJ LeMahieu contract in there that is a depreciating asset and a Aaron Hicks contract that's a depreciating asset, we're still paying them off. You know, and then Brian Cashman took on Josh Donaldson's contract, which is one of the worst contracts you could ever take on. He took that on, and it cooked them for 2 years. So I don't want a similar situation to happen to Cody Bellinger. The truth is, he would be a depreciating asset as soon as he signs on the dotted line if it's any more than 4 years. Any more than 4 years. And 4 years is still... especially considering his age. He's 30 already. And I completely agree with you, Louis. Exactly. Belly had a good year. Tucker is a start. That's where we should be looking. And with that in mind, why are we not in on Kyle Tucker? It doesn't make any sense. I'm dumbfounded why Kyle Tucker is not our priority. I honestly, I'm speechless at where the Yankees are right now, that they don't consider Kyle Tucker their priority. Just look at the difference with Kyle Tucker. Look at the difference. An OPS plus of 143. That's 43 points above average. That's ridiculous. An on-base percentage of almost 400. 25 stolen bases. Look at the WAR, right? So I've already mentioned Cody Bellinger. He's had a 1 WAR, a -1 WAR, another 1 WAR, a 2 WAR. Look at Kyle Tucker's WAR. 2021, when Cody Bellinger had a -1.6 WAR, Kyle Tucker had a 5.3 WAR. 2022, 5.5 WAR. 2023, 5.5 WAR. 2024, 4.7 WAR. What was Cody Bellinger's WAR in 2024? It was 2. Right? That I'm only going by the stats here. The stats do not lie. He is basically an incredibly consistent player. Look at this. Every year, 30 homers, 92. 30 homers, 107. 29, 112. 22, 23 homers. And that's in a big park, and it's difficult to hit home runs. He's been an all-star 4 straight years. 4 straight years he's been an all-star. Why? You tell me exactly why Cody Bellinger is the priority. Why? Because he plays a bit better defense? Look at this bat. I don't get it. I don't get it. I think it's an awful look for the Yankees that they're not just jumping all over Kyle. They should be blessed that Kyle Tucker is a free agent. They should be counting their lucky stars that a player like Kyle Tucker is available in free agency. Look at his age. He's only 28. He's 2 years younger. And he's basically twice the player as Cody Bellinger offensively. They both bat left-handed. All right. No problemo there. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. This is the player they should be targeting. They should not be. They're about to make a startling mistake by signing Cody Bellinger over Kyle Tucker. It's going to be a startling mistake, and they will regret it. They will absolutely regret it. You could bookmark this. You can write this segment down. But as soon as Kyle Tucker goes to the Blue Jays and the Yankees sign Cody Bellinger, we will regret it. Tucker by far is a better player. Yep. Yes, just look at the stats. The stats don't lie. Out of the Yankees' price range now with the budget, which is disgusting. The fact that the Yankees have a budget at all is a slap in the face to the commitment that the Yankee fans show the Yankees every year. And any overpay that they need to make for Kyle Tucker would be paid back in shirt sales and season ticket sales, which are down, by the way. Yeah, ticket sales are down. The Yankees are doing a very poor job of selling their product. You know that whole speculate to accumulate thing? It's a real thing. What happened the last time that the Yankees actually gave Aaron Judge some help? What happened? You know the answer. This is a rhetorical question. The answer is right in front of you. What happened? They acquired Juan Soto. What happened? They made it all the way to the World Series. They made almost $1 billion that year. Made it all the way to the World Series. Hal Steinbrenner had tons of money in profits, and he could give it to all his family members, and he could buy him a whole new yacht. That's right. Speculate to accumulate. Yankee fans were happy. Hal Steinbrenner was happier. So what's the problem? Speculate to accumulate. Up that budget, bring in the best player, give Aaron Judge some help, and the Yankee fans are happy. Yankee fans are happy. It's not rocket science, guys. It really isn't. Speculate to accumulate and let the cards fall as they may. But since then, they let Soto go to the Mets, and they're just looking at B-tier options ever since then. And it showed up in the playoffs last year, where they got run over. And now, this offseason, they've done literally nothing. Literally nothing. If any of you guys got a gift of a Yankee jersey or a Yankee hat or a Yankee anything, that is more than what the Yankees have spent on their organization and free agency. Jason in the chat. Salute to you, Jason. The problem is the Yankees window is closing with Judge getting older. Preach! If CBA goes as expected and a push for a hard cap floor, the Yankees will have a harder time competing when it goes in effect. That's because their front office is completely malfunctioning, but you're spot on. Because the way I say that is because, do you think the Dodgers are concerned about that? No. No, their manager literally said, doesn't matter if there's a salary cap, we're still going to dominate. And I quote, but the Yankees are not functioning in all cylinders. They're not a fully operational Death Star, believe it or not, where once again, you go up, they're almost at $300 million as we speak, and they have multiple holes all over their roster. They still don't have a complete bullpen. They don't have a complete rotation. They don't have a complete outfield. They don't have a complete infield. They're almost at $300 million. So miss me with Brian Cashman as an elite GM. Miss me with that stuff. That's another narrative that needs to be debunked. He used to be. He isn't now. And yes, the Yankees window is closing quickly with Judge getting older. It's serious. It's really serious. And not only is Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman slapping Yankee fans across the face, he's slapping their captain across the face. Aaron Judge, no one else has an Aaron Judge. The only other team that could claim to have anyone comparable to an Aaron Judge are the Dodgers with Ohtani. Right? And this is how we should be looking at it. And this is really important, guys. So listen up, listen good. Get your coffees ready. And let's really think about this. The only other team that has a player comparable to Aaron Judge are the LA Dodgers, right? They have Ohtani. What are the Dodgers doing for Ohtani? Well, they've given them Freddie Freeman. He's given them the best closer in baseball. They've given them Mookie Betts. And just for the hell of it, how about Yamamoto? Currently, probably the best starter in the league. See what I'm saying? That's what the Dodgers are doing for their superstar. Now, Ohtani absolutely helped by deferring a lot of money. But the Dodgers are still doing whatever it takes to put a winner around Ohtani. With Yamamoto, with Freddie Freeman, with Mookie Betts, with Diaz. And it goes on and on and on. Theo Hernandez, it goes on and on and on. That's what they do. Yeah, Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell, Theo, Roki. Exactly. That's what the Dodgers are doing for their superstar. Now, what are the Yankees doing for their superstar? You can make the strong argument that Aaron Judge is a better player than Ohtani. You can make that argument. He's certainly a better hitter, probably. Okay? What are the Yankees doing for him? Gaslighting us with Anthony Volpe, who's one of the worst players that played in the actual entire Major League Baseball last year. McMahon, after leaving third base vacant for the entire half the season. Not having a first baseman for years on end. Know what I'm talking about? Verdugo in left field. Prior to that, not a damn thing in left field. That's what the Yankees are doing for Aaron Judge. That's just the absolute God's honest truth. That's the God's honest truth. And now you go into this offseason with Aaron Judge coming off a season where he almost had the Triple Crown. And what have they done for him so far? We're now a week into January. And what are they doing for Aaron Judge? I'm waiting. Overpay Trent Grisham 5 times what he's worth. What else? Sign Paul Blackburn. Cade Winquist. Paul DeYoung. Ali Sanchez. Right? That's what the Yankees have done. That's not only a slap in the face to this fan base. It's not only a slap in the face to what the Yankees represent, but it's a slap in the face to their captain, Aaron Judge. Absolute slap in the face to him, too. We are shopping in the dollar store while the Dodgers and the Blue Jays shop in Saks Fifth Avenue. That's just the reality. But of course, Demon D, Donald, what's cracking? I'm cracking into the Yankees as normal. What's going on? Mr. Rance himself here. That's the truth. the Yankees are shopping in the dollar store, looking for some value, while the Dodgers and the Blue Jays are shopping in sacks. And it's sad, man. Aaron Judge deserves better. We deserve better as fans, but Aaron Judge does deserve better. Now, could he be more of a captain and really just stand up and go, what the F are you doing? Yes, he should. I think he's too nice for his own good. He's too nice for his own good as a captain. He needs to stand up. And because he actually holds more leverage than any other Yankee captain in the past and more power than any player in the past. He does. Derek Jeter never had this amount of sway. George loved Jeter, but I mean, it was never a case where Jeter would need to campaign to George Steinbrenner to do this, that, or the other, because he knew that George Steinbrenner was going to make the moves anyway, right? But we're in a situation now where Hal doesn't want to do anything. Brian Cashman doesn't want to do anything. And Aaron Judge has more sway. He has Hal Steinbrenner's right ear. If he goes to him and says, this team is not it. What the F are you doing? I've only got 3 or 4 years left in my career. What are you doing? Then maybe it would filter through to them. Aaron Judge is 35, bro. How much longer are you expecting him to be Aaron Judge? What, 3, 4 years? And you're willing to waste another year of that while the Yankees plead poverty? Come on. Could somebody please slap them over the side of the head? Did you hear Michael Kay simping over the Yankees yesterday on his show? No disrespect to Kay. He's a good announcer, good broadcaster, but good Lord, he is some Yankee simp. Let's be honest. The way he broke it down was outrageous. Well, the Yankees feel that they could go the first 2-3 months with just Paul Blackburn and Yarbrough, and they'd be very happy. They think that he can do that. They don't need to sign more than Cody Bellinger. Blah blah blah. It was a lot of company speak, and I know that's what he is. He's all about the company, and that's fair. But it isn't a real argument, because all it does is just justify the dreadful offseason that the Yankees have had to this point. And it's dreadful. Absolutely unacceptable. I know that Michael Kay was screaming, oh, but the Yankees didn't want Imai. They didn't want Okamoto. They weren't interested in those guys. They've not lost anyone that they wanted. Who do the Yankees want? The only guy I've heard that the Yankees are interested in is a pitcher from the Marlins and Cody Bellinger. That's the only 2 realistic guys I've heard that the Yankees are interested in. That doesn't mean anything. Just because the Yankees weren't in on Imai does not mean that Imai is a bad pitcher. Just because the Yankees weren't in on Okamoto doesn't mean that Okamoto was a bad player. Just because the Yankees are not discussing a contract with Kyle Tucker does not mean that Kyle Tucker is not an all-star. He's a 4-time all-star in a row. A lot of the reason why the Yankees are not in on a lot of these guys is because they are acting cheap. Not because they have some phenomenal process where they are ahead of everybody else. They're the head of the curve on everybody else. And you want to know why I'm speaking from a truthful perspective? Because Brian Cashman has completely gotten rid of everybody in the international scouting department. The international scouting department have been emptied. It's in the trash. There is nobody currently working in the international scouting department. So you cannot tell me that this front office is firing on all cylinders. Clearly, there's a problem in that process that Brian Cashman gaslights us about every single year. He sits there and says, I love our process. Love our process. Okay, results weren't great, but I love our process because that's all that matters. Well, the process kind of sucks because they've had to get rid of everybody in their national scouting department. But this is the kind of truth that you get with the Pinstripe Chronicles, guys. I don't sugarcoat anything. I don't butter up anybody. I don't kiss ass. If I kissed ass, I'd probably have a job with the organization, but I refuse to kiss ass. I'm telling the truth. The Yankees are not a functioning organization. They're not a fully functioning Death Star anymore. They absolutely are not. The Yankees want guys that are going to simp over them. I'm not going to simp. Absolutely not. I am not going to simp over them. Because someone has to remind them of what their standards are. And their standards have been declining of late. Got Jay, Riv. Yo, the Yankees era is over, to be honest. They had a chance to sign international players and don't push enough. That would bring more overseas talent to the Yankees. Look at the Dodgers. Right. I still don't understand why they were not in on Imai. Apparently, they didn't like Imai's stuff. Imai had a 1 ERA in Japan last year. The year before that, he had a 2 ERA. How was that bad stuff? He strikes out 30%. He strikes out 30% of the batters in Japan. And you have a question over his stuff? I have a question over your scouting if you question him. So a lot of teams didn't want Imai. We'll see. We'll see. I think he's a really good pitcher. From what I saw, I think he's really good. I'm not saying he's going to be Yamamoto or anything like that, but for what the Yankees needed, which was a third or fourth starter, healthy, and to get themselves back in the Japanese market, he covered all those bases. And the Yankees do need to get back in the Japanese market. And they passed. So listen, they could still make a great deal for Freddie Peralta. That would be fine. But Imai was certainly affordable, made all the sense in the world, healthy, all the things that, and also it was only going to cost money. And the Yankees should have money. They've not spent any. So I refuse to believe that Imai was not a good signing for the Yankees. I think that was a really good signing for the Yanks. So I'm disappointed. I'm still disappointed that they passed on that. And I'm also disappointed that they passed on Okamoto. I think Okamoto would be great. Oh, this is a good one. Oh, I like this. Oh, this is great. So if you're thinking, oh, Donald's just running just for the sake of it, let's just let's ask an ex-Yankee what he thinks of the Yankee front office. Clint Frazier, ex-Yankee outfielder, blast front office spin. They'll piss on your head and tell you it's raining. Yes! My guy. The organization operates with a frustrating lack of transparency that leaves some feeling misled and manipulated. Wow. That's amazing. The Yankees will piss on your head and tell you it's raining. They use Jack Curry as a mouthpiece to either tell you that they're out on a guy or in on a guy. And I always find it interesting because I feel like the guys that don't want to go up there and say exactly what they're out on, somebody knows they'll get eviscerated. You know what I mean? They use Jack Curry because they know that he's somebody that the fans trust. Wow. Clint Frazier from the top rope. It's a pattern of media manipulation. And Frazier also discussed Cashman's peculiar obsession with finding bargain players rather than making splash signings. Woo! Something he attributes more to ego than a sound strategy. He needs that for his ego, you know? He loves a bargain bin. He loves a clearance rack. Wow. That's fantastic. Shout out to Clint Frazier. Good for Clint Frazier. Good for Clint Frazier, man. Damn, I'm proud of him. Now I know that some are going to say that he's a sourpuss or whatever. Dude, he's just telling the truth. He's just telling what everyone's thinking. And that's exactly it from Brian Cashman. He loves to manipulate the media. And he uses certain mouthpieces that the fan base trusts in order to soft land. That's what he does. A soft launch, I should say. He soft launches what his plans are. So they're using Jack Curry as a mouthpiece to soft launch what they're doing this offseason, which is nothing. They're just soft launching it. And because Jack Curry is such a reputable source, such a good person, such an excellent journalist, very good at what he does, then, Yankee fans are going to go, yeah, I can see the point there. You know what? He's got a good point. It's very smart. It's very smart. That's what the Yankees are doing. Now, Brian Cashman knows that if he came out and said, yeah, we're going to do nothing, he'd get eviscerated for it. However, if he uses someone that people like Jack Curry, and I've got some of his books, I think he's great, then he can soft launch it, and it'll land better. Brian Cashman knows that if Aaron Boone came out or Hal Steinbrenner came out and said the Yankees' plans of doing absolutely nothing, then the organization would be burnt to the ground. However, they use Jack Curry, then they'll be like, yeah, that makes sense. Or Michael Kay, yeah, kind of makes sense. That's what they're doing. And it's media tactics. It's media tactics. It's not some sound strategy. Clint Frazier just told you. They don't use a sound strategy. They just look for bargain bins and are trying to find lightning in a bottle. They love it. They want all the Aaron Smalls in the world. They want the Luke Voits. They prefer that. So then Brian Cashman's ego gets boosted when one of them eventually works out. So he could go, yeah, look at my fantastic process. My wonderful process. I found the Luke Voit. No one else did. That's what he does. That's what he does. He doesn't want to go and get the big signings. He doesn't want the Manny Machados and all that stuff and the Bryce Harpers. No. He wants the Aaron Hicks so that if Aaron Hicks has a good year, you can be like, yeah, look at me. I got one guy. It's all about ego. It's not about putting the best product on the field. Certainly not to the extent that Yankee fans deserve. Because at the moment, this offense is Aaron Judge and a whole lot of question marks. That's the offense. They should be in on Kyle Tucker, but they ain't. So, I mean, let's have another deep dive into more rumors, and we'll see what else we've got cracking on the Yankee cold stove. John Morosi says a short-term deal with the Dodgers might be the best outcome of all for Kyle Tucker. Oh my God. Oh my God. So it's either the Blue Jays or the Dodgers for Kyle Tucker, it looks like. I think it'll probably be the Blue Jays, personally. According to Ken Rosenthal, the Blue Jays are focused on Tucker. The Cubs are talking to both Bregman and Bichette. Sox are talking to both Bregman and Bichette. Do you see the Yankees mentioned anywhere? No. No, because they're too smart for that. They're smarter than everybody else, you see. That's what it is. So, Kyle Tucker might get $45 million a year, but it might be an opt-out after 2 years, something like that. In which case, it's actually pretty good value. I can't believe that the Yankees are not taking advantage of that. That's where the Yankees have fallen off as an organization, because you look at the Mark Teixeira situation. That's when the Yankees really jumped in on the bidding last minute. It was like 21st of December, my birthday, and they saw that there was an opening for them to jump in. That's when the Yankees used to be strategic. That's when the Yankees used to be like a freaking predator waiting in the weeds, waiting to jump, waiting to pounce. That's when the Yankees were fully operational. Now the Yankees are just like complacent. They think they're better than they are, and it's very sad. So there's almost 70 people in the chat. Could everybody please hit the like button? Everybody please hit the like button. Hit the share button. Hit the sub button if you're watching and you haven't subbed before. We're checking the analytics, and there's plenty of people that are watching. They ain't subbing. So how about you guys sub up? And also hit the notification bell. So every time we go live, which is 3 times a week right now, even more if actually the Yankees bother to do anything, then you will get a notification as to when we go live. I mean, I'm hot on the dial, man. I'm waiting. Hey, Stevie B. My notification never went off. That's my guy, Stevie B. He's an OG. Hal is just a numbers guy. No passion for winning. Exactly. In fact, I'm going to give you a star for that. So, yeah, go back to the point. For those watching on YouTube, please hit that sub button. That's the key. Hit the sub button and hit the like button so that the algorithm pushes this out, because we've been getting comments going, wow, we've just discovered this. This is great content. You guys really know your shit. Please. But the only way more people are going to see it is if you guys hit the like button. So please, if you could all do that. So let's get back into this. At the moment, it looks like Bellinger's market is kind of waning off a little bit, and the Yankees are cognizant not to overpay, while Tucker is possibly looking at a short-term deal to either the Blue Jays or the Dodgers. So that's a big thing. Now, what are the Yankees going to do here? What can the Yankees do? So it's very interesting that Clint Frazier took that opportunity to rip the Yankees, and rightfully so. Although I'm sure because it's the Messenger that he's going to get ripped for it, but he's just telling the truth. That is the truth. The Yankees eye Edward Cabrera. I like Edward Cabrera. I like him a lot. However, he does have very serious concerns regarding his elbow. His elbow is needing constant maintenance. So maybe the Yankees could maybe get him a little bit cheaper, but he also has 3 years of control, and he's in his 20s, and he's good. He's electric, so I doubt how much of a discount the Yankees would actually get for Edward Cabrera. But if the Yankees made a deal for Edward Cabrera like tonight, then I'm not going to complain. But I would be surprised. We will wait and see it. As long as it doesn't cost us Jason Dominguez, as long as it doesn't cost us Spencer Jones, I would seriously consider a deal like centered around Hess and Brooks. That I would be okay with completely. Yahoo Sports is saying that the Yankees could potentially swoop in on Kyle Tucker after latest development. I doubt it because I think the Yankees' plan A, B, and C is Cody Bellinger. Joe Sherman has an article saying the Yankees make a second Cody Bellinger offer. There's really not a lot of other rumors going around. Who else? The Yankees need a righty bat. Where can the Yankees look to get a righty bat? Where can they find a righty bat, guys? If they're not going to be in on Bo Bichette, they need a righty bat. Ideally, an infielder. Yankees. Yeah, Yahoo Sports is smoking crack. I agree. They do need an infielder. That's why I didn't understand why they weren't in an Okamoto. That's somebody that is a high on base guy that has 20 to 30 homer power, decent contact hitter, and is a very good glove at third and first. But this is the fantastic Yankee process that they're not interested in Okamoto. I mean, this is what I'm frustrated about. And I've been saying this for a while. The Yankees seem to operate in a short-term vacuum very often. They don't really think long-term. So, let's look at the third base situation. Because the McMahon trade now looks seriously questionable. Because the Yankees did nothing, left third base vacant all the way up until the trade deadline, right? And it cost them serious games, right? So then they made the McMahon trade. The McMahon trade, for short term, between the months of August to October, was very good. He didn't have a great year offensively. Defensively, he was magnificent. And he was very important, and he was very good for the clubhouse. And all good things. However, he's also tied to a contract for almost 2 to 3 years. And that's not a great asset of a contract either. It's not easily movable. And he's not an all-star caliber player. He's not even a league average hitter right now. And doesn't address our issues from the right side. That seems like a mistake now. Because now you look into this offseason, Bregman's available. Okamoto was available. Bo Bichette's available. You know what I'm saying? They could have had what they should have done was they should have gotten a stopgap on a rental and then actually address the third base situation this offseason. That bats from the right side and give you power, like an Alex Bregman or an Okamoto or Bo Bichette. But that's what I'm saying. Brian Cashman doesn't have a long-term vision. He always just operates in a vacuum. That's a problem. Nico Horner is actually someone that the Yankees have shown interest in. That's actually not a bad shout. That's not a bad shout at all. I like Nico Horner. Apparently, the term obsessed has been used with the Yankees and Nico Horner. Jim Bowden says, I'm being told by opposing GMs that the Yankees are pretty obsessed with adding a right-handed bat. I've heard them linked to Nico Horner. Now, that's someone that I would not be disappointed with. I like him. I think he's a good player. And he addresses a lot of issues that the Yankees have right now. Now, he obviously doesn't have any power, but he's someone that bats for a high average. He bat almost 300 last year, 60 RBIs, only struck out 49 times. He's someone that's a high on base guy, high contact guy. Batting average has never dipped below 280 or 270 since 2020. 2021, 302 batting average. 2022, 281 batting average. 2023, 283. 2024, 273. 2025, 297. That's someone who's a good on-base guy. I like that. That's something that the Yankees should attack. He's a second baseman and righty bat. Now that would be something I would do. I would definitely do that. Armand says, reports stated Bregman wants to live in Arizona. That's why he wants to sign with the D-backs. Well, Bregman seemed very happy in Boston. Dave Rice says, Horner's too much of a banjo hitter for me. I mean, I like banjo hitters, but my only issue with that is they've also got Caballero, who's very much a non-power, all-contact kind of guy. The Yankees don't want to completely overcorrect in that department. They do need another power bat. If in an ideal world you sign Kyle Tucker, he's your power, right? He's your protection for Aaron Judge. And then you maybe make a deal for a Horner and move McMahon, maybe. Then I'm all right with it. I think that would be a good way of addressing the lineup. I think that's a good way of doing it. So the thing is, right, of all my complaining, and I've done a lot of it, all the answers to the Yankees winning a championship is right here. They are right there. They're right there on the market. They're right there. They're right there. You sign a Kyle Tucker. Make a deal for a Nico Horner. Or sign Bo Bichette. And you make a trade for Freddie Peralta of the Brewers. And then you make some nice moves for the bullpen. And the Yankees have a championship caliber team. That isn't going to take a lot. It takes a little bit of creativity, a little bit of maneuvering. Might have to move a little bit of money here or there because you know how Steinbrenner's budget. But if you make a trade for a Freddie Peralta and you sign a Kyle Tucker and then you sign a Bo Bichette or you trade for Nico Horner, then the Yankees have addressed all their issues. Then you look at a bullpen arm. And the Yankees have completely solved their issues, at least on the field. Off the field, that's still an issue. It still needs work. But that's the thing. It's not like the Yankees couldn't fix what's ailing them right now. They need a right-handed bat, and they need some power protection for Aaron Judge. And they need a fifth starter, fourth starter. And they need a bullpen arm, a serious bullpen arm with some strikeout stuff. They need those things. At the moment, the Yankees have done absolutely nothing to address any of those things. Peralta, 432 October pitcher, no thanks. I'm not going to overrate that. I don't know, but I'm just looking at the kind of year he just had, where he had a 2.70 ERA and a 17-6 record for the Milwaukee Brewers. That's pretty damn good. The year before that, 3.60 ERA. Take that all day long. For that, 3.58. Take that, 2.81 ERA. Take that. He's been a very good pitcher for a long time, and he's only 29. And he's from the Dominican Republic. So he'd be very comfortable in the Bronx. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a ton of sense, and he's a lot more healthy than Cabrera. So, 3 to 4 teams have better trade assets for Peralta than the Yankees, I'm afraid. Well, they have to do something. They have to do something. That's why Imai made all the sense in the world. It was only going to cost money. That's why it's smart to attack the free agent market rather than the trade market. Because the trade market is going to cost you your assets. Free agent market, it's only going to cost you money. Okay, you're going to have to overpay a little bit. They wouldn't have had to overpay for Imai. His market was down. And for those saying, oh, well, what if he's not that good? And a lot of teams weren't in on him. There was absolutely no commitment. There was opt-outs in his Astros deal every year. So the Yankees could have easily just signed Imai. And if he just turned out to be a 4th or 5th starter, there's no commitment. He drops off the books next year. No problemo. No harm, no foul. Doesn't cost you Dominguez. Doesn't cost you Spencer Jones. Doesn't cost you Hess. Doesn't cost you ERC. Doesn't cost you those guys. Just costs you money. $18 million a year. Made no sense not to go for Imai. And I don't believe he's going to turn into Kagawa. He wasn't going to turn into Kagawa. He had a 1 ERA last year in Japan, striking out 30% of the batters in Japan. Very good stuff. High 90s fastball. That stuff translates. That stuff could translate. I think he's going to be a good pitcher for the Astros. And I think the Yankees are going to look like idiots. Again, I think they will. Dave Rice agrees. Imai should have been signed by the Yankees. Yeah, I don't want to hear Michael Kay saying, oh, but not many teams were interested in Imai. They didn't like his stuff. Right? It wasn't going to cost you Dominguez. It wasn't going to cost you Spencer Jones. What was the loss? $18 million? The Yankees make $18 million in a day. Right? Stupid. Really stupid. But they don't have a process. So, yeah. Anyway, the answers are right there. That's the good news. The good news is, even in first week of January, all the answers to make the Yankees a serious team that would make fans excited, to make fans buy season tickets, and make fans buy concessions and jerseys and get excited for opening day, all those answers are still on the table. The bad news is the Yankees have shown absolutely no willingness to do anything other than sign Cody Bellinger. That's the bad news. Yep, I agree, Jay. Imai was an easy signing. Yankees blew it. He didn't want to play in LA. That was a green light. Exactly. You want to talk about mentality? The Yankees are soft. They have a soft manager, a complacent general manager, and a disinterested owner. The Yankees are too friendly. They're too nice. It's all about vibes. Anthony Volpe and Austin Wells are best buddies. Jazz Chisholm is just a space cadet. He's just vibes, right? It's a very friendly, happy-go-lucky. It's not a focused, winning locker room. And that's partly why they've failed at the top level. They don't really have any fighters. They don't really have any fight. They don't have any grit. They have no toughness. Big G has toughness. Garrett Cole has quiet intensity. Rodon shows some toughness, but in terms of the lineup, it's not a very tough team. It's all about vibes, you know? And it just, and then all you have to do is just ask the owner, Hal Steinbrenner was asked what he loved about last year's team. You know what he said? He liked that they all got on, that they were all friends. What did Paul Blackburn say the biggest difference between him and the Yankees and the Mets were? He loved the fact that all the Yankees seem to be best friends with each other. Okay? So they all get on well. They all get on well. So it's basically the Boy Scouts. Right? I think that's partly why Juan Soto walked away. I think he just saw that there was no toughness. Now he's walked into an even worse locker room in the Mets, but I do agree with him. There is no toughness for this Yankee team. It needs toughness. Stuffing Things disagrees that Big G has toughness. That's why he spends half the season on the injured list. I don't think that has anything to do with toughness, dude. He is made of glass, but he is tough. Just look at what he does in October every year. Last year was bad, but every year in October, he's just been an absolute assassin. And then in the clutch, Big G is an absolute machine. And he's one guy that he doesn't sugarcoat anything. He doesn't piss on your head and tell you it's raining like Brian Cashman and the rest of the Yankees do. He tells that as it is. I like that. I appreciate that. And I'd like to see more of that in the Yankee locker room. He says stuff like, this is flat out unacceptable. I like that. So he does have that, and he does have that toughness in the big spot. You know, he's the one that holds court. He's the one that holds court when the Yankees are losing. When the Yankees were about to get swept off the Red Sox, and everybody else in the locker room, including the captain, was like, "Oh, I'll be fine. Yeah, we'll see." Big G held court and says the Yankees do not get swept at home to the Red Sox. It does not happen. That's the kind of intensity I like. That's the kind of leadership that he shows. Not enough guys show that on the team. Yeah, I wish they would release him. Bro, he's your only other righty bat. He's a roster clog. Dude, do you have any faith in the Yankees to replace that bat? Where are you replacing that bat? They don't have other options. They don't have a good operation. Big G is absolutely vital to this Yankee team. He's the only other power hitter in this roster, other than Aaron Judge. The only other power hitter, pure power. I think Belly doesn't want to play with Big G since they both shared the same. Really? Oh, you got to fill me in on that. I wouldn't be surprised. But I've not heard that. Sounds interesting, though. I love this idea. Go get Tio Hernandez from the Dodgers. That would be a smart organization doing smart things. I love Tio Hernandez. He's an absolute assassin in the postseason. F Anthony Volpe. Volpe thinks he's a power hitter. He's not even a hitter. Belly is married to Stanton's ex. Ooh, there we go. I don't really care what they do upfield. But I think all I'll say is I think Belly's wife has gone down a grade if she's taken Belly instead of Big G. Big G, he's a better player. Should have stuck with Big G. He's going to the Hall of Fame. Belly ain't going to the Hall of Fame. So, yeah, that's where the Yankees are. The good news is the answers are still there on the market. The bad news is it doesn't show the Yankees have shown any willingness. Big G's a better player than Cody Bellinger. Absolutely. He is going to the Hall of Fame. Have you seen his numbers? He's going to absolutely the Hall of Fame. I'm a big G stan. He's one of the only guys I like on this team. I'll be honest. He's one of the only guys I like on this Yankee team. Big G will go to the Hall of Fame. He just needs 2 or 3 more solid seasons, and he's going to the Hall of Fame. Absolutely. He had an OPS of almost 1,000 last year. An OPS plus of 158. That's pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. He has 453 home runs in his career already. 1,100 RBIs. All he needs is 5. If he gets to 500, if he gets 500 home runs, he's going to the Hall of Fame. He needs 47 home runs. If he can get 47 home runs over the next 2 seasons, I'll make a promise to you. I believe he'll be going to the Hall of Fame. Be hard to sell that he won't with 500 homers. That's just the facts, I'm afraid. And then you look at what he does in the postseason over his career. A slug of 600 and an OPS of 900. 18 home runs in the postseason for the Yankees. That's really freaking good. That's great. You can make a serious case for a Hall of Fame that way. So, yeah, I do believe that Big G is going to the Hall of Fame. Big G is a better OPS than Aaron Judge in the postseason. Much better slug. 476 slug for Aaron Judge, 600 slug for Big G. 822 OPS for Judge, 922 OPS for Big G. Big G is a postseason beast. He can, I think he does deserve a Hall of Fame if he can get 47 home runs. It's not going to be easy considering his injury record, but he's a good player. Yeah, that's true, but just ask Big Papi. I don't believe he looked like a complete idiot in the outfield. In fact, Big G actually plays better when he's on the field. He hits better. Anyway, we're getting off topic, but that's one guy that I can trust. DH was less than 2,000 hits. Well, he just needs 2 more good years, and I think as of right now, he's on the periphery. 2 more years, if he has similar years to what he's had last year, I think he'll get in. He wasn't really abysmal. He had a bad postseason, but that was the first bad postseason he's had since he's become a Yankee. But he had a very good year last year. I just gave you the numbers. He had a very good year last year in the regular season, considering he missed all that time. He only had 200 at bats. He had 24 homers and an OPS of almost 1,000, an OPS plus of 158. That's fucking great. Slug of almost 600, on base percentage of almost 350. Those are great numbers. You take that all day long. He's our only other bat. It's him and Ben Rice. That's it. That's our offense, guys. Aaron Judge, Big G, and Ben Rice. That's our offense. Yes, Healing Man Stars has got it right here. Big G is maybe a fringe Hall of Famer. That's it. He's a fringe Hall of Famer. He's not guaranteed. He's not locked in. I'm saying if he has 2 more good years, if he can get 500, he'll get there. And you're not wrong, Stuff. I mean, he hasn't had a full season since 2018. If he was healthy, then it would be a lock. It would be an absolute lock. But I mean, I still make that trade 1,000 times out of 1,000. I think he's been an asset to this team. Big G is not the reason why the Yankees haven't won a championship. Terry Edwards, sign Bellinger now. Okay, Terry, why? I mean, I saw your comment earlier. I gave you the stats. 4 out of his last 6 years, he's not been very good. Why do you want Bellinger signed now? Kyle Tucker's a free agent. He's available. Right. Sign Tucker. If not signed Tucker. Wait a minute. Wait. If you got Tucker as plan B, why is Tucker plan B, Terry? Tucker's a better player than Bellinger. Shouldn't Tucker be plan A? I'm not getting at you because, to be fair, my co-host Tax agrees with you. Bellinger number 1, Tucker number 2. But I'm absolutely on the train of Kyle Tucker. So, give me your reason. Why do you think that Bellinger should be the priority over Kyle Tucker? I'll look forward to his reply on that. Big G and Judge should have a ring by now. They signed Cole too late. It's interesting. Terry, yep. So what's your thoughts? Why do you prefer Cody Bellinger over Kyle Tucker? I mean, we know the answer, Dave. Absolutely. Yankees aren't signing Tucker. Too much money for Hal. But that's not a good excuse. That was disgraceful. Missing out on trading for Matt Olson is absolute disgrace. Unacceptable. Bellinger provides more defensive versatility, first base, outfield as well. Yeah, that's a good point, which I like to combat. You put him at first base. Where's Ben Rice go? So forget about that. Play him at center field. Well, you can't because you got Trent Grisham. You're paying him $22.5 million. You're not going to sit Trent Grisham. Right field, Aaron Judge plays right field. So left field, well, we got Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones. And by the way, Spencer Jones plays center field. And by the way, Jason Dominguez plays center field. So that argument that Bellinger provides more defensive versatility, I think, is a mute argument. The only thing I want to be paying Bellinger for is protection for Aaron Judge and to lengthen the lineup, improve the lineup. And so if you're comparing purely the bat, there is no comparison. Kyle Tucker's a much better player. Kyle Tucker plays left and right field. And to be fair, that's all you really need. So this whole versatility thing, I think, is hugely overrated. And by the way, his minus 1.6 WAR in 2021 would have taken into account the fact that he is a versatile player. And he still provided almost a minus 2 WAR as a player 24 years old, fully versatile, playing all those positions, and younger than he is now. So that whole versatility thing is a complete mute point for me. I don't buy it. I think it's a silly argument. What if Rice gets injured or just busts? Well, you have to trust that he won't. And by the way, that's on Brian Cashman because there's no first baseman on the 40-man. None. And Brian Cash and Ben Rice isn't even a first baseman, he's a catcher. So that's on Brian Cashman. That isn't on anything else. But you need Ben Rice's bat in the lineup because there's no other power in this lineup from the left side. He's your second best power hitter. Statistically, last year he was our second best power hitter. It's not Cody Bellinger, it was Ben Rice. So, like, you have to get Ben Rice's at bats. I would prefer him his at bats to be a catcher, but the Yankees want him at first base. Thus, you got to ride him out at first base, and that means through the highs and lows, got to give him a run at first base. I think the Yankees are overly worried about versatility. I would be much more concerned about having the best players playing each position. So, but I totally get it, stuff. But the thing is, he never played first base last year. How many times did Cody Bellinger play first base last year? So that just ends the argument right there. He played about 8 games, if that, 5 games. Did he even play any games? 2 or 3. He never played first base that much last year. I believe the Yankees might have a hidden. Oh, no. Don't tell me it's that 32-year-old from the Mexican League that they signed. No, I'm not buying any hidden gem there. Absolutely not. "32-year-old in the Mexican League that hasn't been anywhere near the majors in his career, and the last time he was last seen was in AAA, like 5 years ago. No, you're not going to find any hidden gem there." Okamoto was a signing, and they passed. So, anyway, yeah, last year they had Goldie. How did that work out? It was great the first half, second half disappeared. The lineup is a disaster as it stands. I agree. But the Yankees are gaslighting us that it's great. It's not. Let's look at this lineup before I go, so you guys don't convince yourself that this is some fantastic lineup. Ben Rice, let's start first base. Ben Rice, plus hitter. Second base, Jazz, plus hitter. Volpe, minus hitter. McMahon, minus hitter. Wells, minus hitter. Left fielder, don't currently have a left fielder, so that's a minus. Trent Grisham, average. Like, if you're going by his entire career, minus hitter. Just last year alone, plus hitter. So, Aaron Judge, plus hitter. Big G, plus hitter. Caballero, great player, not really a plus hitter though. So that's it. And bench, whole bunch of minuses. So I don't really know why the Yankees are so excited about this lineup. And then if you look at pure power, it's just Aaron Judge and Big G and Ben Rice. So it's not that great a lineup at all. I think it overperformed last year. So that's why it really needs an injection of a Kyle Tucker. Jason, spot on. It's hard to believe this is a $260 million team as is. Absolutely. It's crazy. It's a terrible misallocation of resources. McMahon is a glove-only guy, really. Volpe is a glove-only guy, but his glove was awful last year. Jazz is a very inconsistent player. Good bat, good glove, but a complete space cadet. Ben Rice is actually a catcher. He's not even a first baseman. Austin Wells has underperformed through his career so far. They don't have a backup catcher. They don't have a backup first baseman. And left field is a big question mark. Jason Dominguez can't play left field, but he's a good bat. But they don't like him. And Spencer Jones, they don't know what they have in Spencer Jones yet. They don't have any backup to Big G if Big G gets hurt. And Trent Grisham is paid 5 times his value. This is very poor allocation of resources. Very poor. This is a team that's supposedly competing for a championship. It's a terrible misallocation of resources. They should be very disappointed with themselves. And then you look at the bullpen. The bullpen's a mess. It's got one closer, couple of arms that are a question mark, and that's it. And at the moment, you're only healthy starters. You've only got 3 healthy starters. So there's 2 empty spots there. It's absurd that you're at $260 million plus, and you need to get a bench. You need to get a power bat. You need to get a righty bat. We don't have any righties. You need to rebuild the bullpen. This is a really good way of putting it. Cashman's scattergun approach to acquiring players is from the island of misfit toys. I agree. He operates in a vacuum. And he takes on bad contracts and he's like, oh, shit. I really like McMahon, really good player, but he doesn't actually solve any issues going into this year. And Brian Cashman's running around going, oh, we need righty bats, we need righty bats, we need righty bats. You're in charge of this. You've been in charge over the last 20 years. You are the reason why we don't have any righty bats. It's no one else's fault. It's just you. And that's one thing I can't blame Hal Steinbrenner for. You've had $300 million to spend every single year, and still you've not been able to provide any righty bats. How have you gone into every single marketplace and missed on a righty bat? How is that possible? How is it possible that since Aaron Judge has become the best player in baseball, you've not provided him any protection consistently? How is that humanly possible? It's unbelievable. And Brian Cashman's like the highest paid GM in the sport. How is it humanly possible? Now he's had to fire everybody in the international scouting department because they've not developed any international players. How is that even possible? Good God. Like, when are we as fans going to start demanding better standards from our team? I mean, the thing is, McMahon's not even like a player I don't like. I actually like him. Good player. He doesn't solve our issue. We need a righty bat. We need some power. We don't have any righty power from the right side. McMahon just clogs up another spot. Plus, at $18 million is a hard contract to move. And you're not going to get anything for him if you did move him. So it wasn't a smart trade. That's why he operates in such a vacuum. He's like, oh, we need a third baseman to get us through to the end of the season. Well, that's why you shouldn't have left third base vacant from December, from the start of the year right through to July. You should have gotten a third baseman. That Hicks deal is the worst deal ever. Worst deal ever. Unforgivable. He's one of the worst players I've ever seen in my entire life. Just an absolute disgrace. Disgrace. Absolutely unforgivable player. I mean, he wasn't the worst baseball player ever, but his mentality was nothing short of a disgrace. This frickin' clown. Look at him. That is the picture of giving up. The ball is 3 feet behind him, and he's just staring at the wall going, woe is me. What a miserable prick. But that was Brian Cashman's big move, and he never moved off him. He gaslit us all for 3-4 years about Aaron Hicks. Oh, he's just going to turn the corner. He's just going to turn the corner. Bullshit. The only corner he's turned is on his golf cart. Exactly, Dave. He should be fired for the state of the International Scouting and Development Organization. Absolutely. Absolutely. If anyone had any standards, they'd be like, right, how's your development going? Poorly. How's Anthony Volpe's development going? Poorly. How's Dominguez's development going? Poorly. Have you signed anybody from Japan? No. How's your international development going? Have you signed anybody? The Dominican Republic creates great players. Mexican League creates best players. They create great players right through South America. And you've not been able to attack that market? No. No, okay, cool. Have you signed any superstars to help Aaron Judge? No. All right. Did you keep Juan Soto? No. All right. What have you done? I signed Paul Blackburn and Cade Winquist. This, I mean, I don't know if the ship is sunk, but it's very much sinking. It's taking on more water than the Yankees will have you believe. It's taking on a ton of water and it's about to sink. And then at the moment, they're just using their media to sell propaganda that this team's better than it is. And unfortunately, there's still a portion of this fan base that buys it. But I think a lot more fans are buying into the fact that a lot of this is just propaganda. Whoa! Per Michael Cerami, Cubs are finalizing deal to acquire Edward Cabrera from the Miami Marlins. Oh my. Oh my. So that's another one that the Yankees were hot for. That's great. Holy shit. Holy shit. Yes. The Cubs are finally deal acquired. Oh my God. That's another one that the Yankees could have had that are gone. That's, oh Lord, this is funny. Oh, I'm speechless. That's actually another of my targets gone. What are they going to do? They have to sign Peralta. If not Peralta, I mean, I don't want Mackenzie Gore. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. The Cubs can have Cabrera. He's a ticking Tommy John. Wow. Big shout out to Armand. Thank you, Armand, for that breaking news. I was just about to wind up, and here we go with more breaking news. This is phenomenal. This is phenomenal, guys. All right, those in the chat, how do you feel about that? Are you happy, or are you pissed that the Yankees have let another of their targets slip? Healing Man's Hearts is not wrong here. He is a ticking Tommy John time bomb. I do agree with that. But he is someone that if we landed, none of us would have complained about, I don't think, because he's got a hell of an arm and had a hell of a year last year. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Shit. I'm neutral. I don't want a ticking Tommy John pitcher. Yeah, I'm still looking for the return. Slack Wolf in the chat. Now I want Cody Bellinger to sign with the Mets. I can't stand Cashman and Boone. I want Cody to go elsewhere. What do you think? I agree completely. I completely agree in every single thing you just said there. I want Cody Bellinger to go to the Mets. I can't stand Boone. Brian Cashman, I used to rate. Now I just think that he's old and complacent and arrogant. And I think the direction he's taken this organization in is embarrassing. It's just all about, and Clint Frazier just said it, and this is the way I describe Brian Cashman and the way he operates. He pisses on your head and tells you it's raining. That's what he does. That's exactly what Clint Frazier said, and I quote: "He manipulates the media and just basically soft launches news to Jack Curry through the Yankees state propaganda network and expects fans to buy it." And I think that's below what I should expect from the Yankees. I don't think the Yankees should be operating like that. They should not be operating as an organization that uses propaganda. That's a sign the Yankees need to trade for Peralta now, not later. But now, do they send Dominguez and Hess for Peralta? I don't care. Just get him now. I agree. They need to make a deal. They need to make a deal. I think Peralta is the way to go now. I actually prefer Peralta, so I mean I'm not furious about it. But it's very interesting that this is another target that the Yankees were hot for that was apparently on the 1 yard line or at least the 10-yard line, and that's another one gone. So once again, Michael K, can you really make the argument that this is good that the Yankees are doing absolutely nothing? That's hard to make that argument. I just went through the roster. They only have like 3 healthy starters. Max Fried, Cam Schlittler, and Luis Gil. Will Warren, I guess you can count that, but I think he's barely a 5th starter. I don't think he's that great. That's it. So you're at best you got 4 healthy starters. 3 injured ones. That's hard to make a case that the Yankees don't seriously need to add a pitcher. And that's not even counting the bullpen that needs work. Wow, this is wild. I'm gonna wait until we get the return before I sign off. In the meantime, I'm gonna charge my laptop. You guys give me some comments in the chat. What do you think about this move? This is not a great look if you're a Yankee. Not a great look for Brian Cashman, but we'll see what the return is. Holy fuck. Right, let's have a look and see what return is. I think he jump on is a good point here from Mets fan. I think he should jump on Buxton, Joe Ryan. There's the guy here on YouTube, 161 Avenue. Guy's biggest Yankee, brown noser. Yeah, Jason. Yeah, a lot of he is a fan of the channel, but a lot of the stuff he breaks is not actually like news. So if you want like the accurate news, you come here. Good guy, but not the most accurate. What's up, Evan? Good to see you in the chat, man. How do you feel about this, bro? If I were a major leaguer, I would not want to come to the Yankees organization. It's producing bad vibes right now. Terrible vibes. Don't know how to feel about Cabrera. Basically, he's a walking time bomb. I agree, but he's got a hell of an arm. He was actually someone that I would have been like, okay, controllable for 3 years, very minimal contract, high upside. He's on the periphery of being an ace if he can stay healthy. That's the kind of name that would have really like pushed the Yankees into at least the direction. Well, not anymore. I mean, the guy had a 25%, 26% K rate. Any update on the return here? I'm on X, looking for what the return is. This is a big move for the Cubs. Shout out to the Cubs. I mean, how about this for a stat? The top 30 fastest changeups of the 2025 MLB season was all Edward Cabrera. 28 of the 30. Pete Fairbanks threw 2. Edward Cabrera's changeup was something in the something like 92, 93 miles an hour. Wow. He would have been good, man. This is shocking. I agree, Evan. If they do exactly this, if they do nothing, they're an 80-win team. If they sign Cody Bellinger, they're still not a 90-win team. Maybe an 85-win team. 86. The Yankees aren't getting Peralta either. Wow. I'm going to hold off until we get more news on this. Thank you to Armand and thank you to those that broke the news. This makes things very interesting. Very interesting. Hopefully we get an update as to what the return is. Wow. Jonathan says, I haven't found anyone else on Cabrera, not even MLB trade rumors. Well, no, it went through. It's happening. I'm just waiting on what the actual return is. Let's see. So Michael Cerami says it's a deal. So he's from Bleacher Report. Okay. That's a big move. Anybody else other than Michael Cerami breaking it? Dude, it's a 95, 96 mile an hour changeup. He's good. That's a big move for the Cubs. Shout out Chicago. Because a couple of days ago, I was on doing this podcast and I was saying we should, I would try and make a deal if it didn't cost us Dominguez. Wow. Okay. Well, this is interesting from Ken Rosenthal. He says Cody Bellinger has significant leverage with the Yankees, considering their options beyond him. If not Bellinger, who's the offensive player you're going to get to replace him? Hello. His name's Kyle Tucker. Thanks. Thanks for playing. What a ridiculous argument. I prefer Cabrera to Alcantara. I don't think Alcantara's that good. Tucker's right there for the taking, Don. Yes, I agree. Completely agree. What makes you think these guys want to be Yankees? Well, that's true. The Yankees ain't the Yankees anymore. I don't think there's as many guys that would kill to be part of the Yankees anymore. The Yankees are no longer, they think they are. They think they're still the dynasty, but they've not been that attractive. They've not been active. And they've not been, they're not the same team anymore. They just don't have the same attraction. Like, teams want to go play for the Dodgers. If the Blue Jays continue to make moves, then they'll even go, heck, I'll try Canada. Play beside Vlad the Impaler. Consider him. But that's what happens to the Yanks, man. They've been so complacent. They sit out free agency and they sit out the Japanese market. They sit out the international market. And they sit out on winning championships and basically live on gaslighting fans. And then sooner or later, you go, 16 years without a championship? And now their stock is down. That's the reality of the Yankees, I'm afraid. Ken Rosenthal has confirmed the trade, but there's no return yet. Right. So Ken Rosenthal and Cerrone has broken that deal. Very interesting. Okay. That is an interesting development. Now, Bo Bichette is an interesting one because if Kyle Tucker goes to the Blue Jays, which I think he will, I don't think they'll be able to get Bo Bichette. That makes Bo Bichette available. The Yankees should be jumping in on that. But I haven't heard anything. Bob Clappish. I think the Yankees' position is if Bellinger can find someone to pay him 7 years at 30. Oh, come on. Excuse me. As Clappish says here, I think the Yankees' position is if Bellinger can find someone to pay him 7 years at 37 or $8 million a year, let him take it. But he's got to find it. And so far, that gold mine does not exist because he's not that good a player. Crazy. I don't understand how it's taken this long just to get the return on this trade. John the Beagle Dad, I was working. I'm sure I hear about what I missed. Yeah, Edwin Cabrera is off to the Marlins. There's no indication that Tuck would want to be a Yankee, though, Donald. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, it's hard to know. I can't predict. And so basically, what's going on? Hal is being cheap with money, and Cashman cheap with prospect. Well, that is interesting because John Heyman did go on WFAN and said that the Yankees' budget allows Cody Bellinger, but not Bo Bichette and Kyle and Cody Bellinger. So basically, one. He's allowing one in the budget. So obviously not good news. Mark in the chat. Since the stupid Grisham signing, thank you for someone telling the truth. Since the stupid Grisham signing, I don't want Belly anymore. Yep, I prefer Bo Bichette to catcher and let Dominguez, but Mark Gates, you were getting a star. For that. And that Grisham signing has completely derailed the offseason. I remember me and Uncle Tats, we'd had a podcast on that when that news broke that he took the $22.5 million sign. And we both said that that's going to derail the offseason. And boy, could we not have been more prophetic in our words. It has completely derailed the season, the offseason, because they have signed nobody since then. They have traded for nobody since then. They have not spent a single dollar in free agency. They've not taken on a single contract in trade since the Grisham move. It's completely derailed the offseason. Thank you, Brian Cashman. Thanks. Thanks for making a move so stupid, so ever-lovingly stupid that it derails an offseason. Good job. Exactly, Jason. Every other team valued Grish at about half of what the Yankees paid. There was not a single team in God's green earth that would have paid Grisham anything more than between 15 and 18, if that, $1 million a year. Probably 15. Probably not even 18. 15. 12 to 15, actually. The Yankees were like 22 and a half. Oh, it's good. It's a good deal. Dodgers are all over Bichette. Of course they are, because the Dodgers are smart. The Dodgers actually care. I don't know what Hal's doing. He's not setting any standards. He's not set a budget. He's just saying I'd prefer to lower the payroll. And that's kind of what we're operating under. But he hasn't really given any instruction. So we're all just kind of sitting there. We're all kind of just sitting. There's no instruction. Brian Cashman's even said so himself that Hal hasn't told him a specific budget. But he's clearly operating under the impression that he wants to stay under 300. Because Hal made it clear that he wants to lower payroll. Heard John Heyman word his Yanks were never close. On compare, Jesus. Ollie, Hal doesn't want to win. Exactly. He would have signed some great free agent players in the market right now. Hal doesn't care. Us Yankee fans deserve better. Ollie, you are spot on, and I feel your pain, my friend. And that's why I have been ranting for the last 2 hours. Honestly, it's just disgraceful at this point. I mean, Hal definitely has a lot to blame, but you listen to what Clint Frazier says. Brian Cashman would prefer to manipulate the media and sign bargain basement players purely on his own ego than sign stars. So this is also on Brian Cashman. The two of them are just as bad as each other. I hate the Grisham signing. but that's just Cashman being a horrible GM. Yep. Just like the $50 million and 35-year-old George. Oh God, it was the worst contract ever. And exactly. I completely agree. To me, the way I view it is that if you sign Grisham, it's a really bad contract, but I prefer to not make two wrongs a right. Because if you sign Cody Bellinger, that's another bad contract. Now you've got two bad contracts. I prefer to have one bad contract. At least it goes off after next year. So that's why I'm passing on Cody Bellinger. I'm just going to give Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones left field, and I'm going to sign Bo Bichette. That's what I would do. Or I would trade for Teoscar Hernandez. Say, for instance, the Dodgers sign Bellinger or whatever, then that really opens up a spot for a trade for Teo Hernandez. Yankees could get in there. Then you got some power from that side. I would do that for sure. So that'd be a smart move. But I'm not giving Cody Bellinger 6 years. Bob Clapper says that he's looking for 7 years. Are you out of your freaking mind? He's wanting 7 years. I wouldn't give him any more than 3. Craziness, guys. Absolutely crazy. So Armand is saying the deal is the Cubs are not done yet, but progressing. So some are saying it's done, some are saying it's not. I'm going to go with probably it's done. Michael Cerami saying it's done. I think it's done. Talking Yanks is now reported at Yanksford reportedly never close. Cubs are currently closing in on him. So it's done. It's a deal. It's a done deal. It's going to happen. So the Yankees checked in and missed again, just like they do with everybody. Another miss for the Yankees. There is no urgency. This is getting ridiculous, guys. This is getting ridiculous. This is getting absolutely ridiculous. It's actually kind of funny at this point. It's ridiculous, but also kind of funny. Wow. Wow. Where do the Yankees go from here? God knows. I have no idea what the Yankees are doing. We need Bo Bichette. I would love Bo Bichette. I think his bat's like 322 in the playoffs. And apparently the reason why the Yankees aren't going all in on Bo Bichette right now is not because they don't like him. It's because they don't really have an ideal spot for him because they don't view him as a shortstop. So it would have been at third base or second base. They made the trade for McMahon that cost them Bo Bichette. If that's the case, then they're idiots. Do they read the market? Do they have any idea of what the market is? That's something that should be like fundamental to any front office. The way that they should have approached the McMahon trade, considering they're taking on 3 years of his contract at $18 million per, the way they should have approached it is, okay, so we're currently in July 31st, right? In the winter, there could be some better players than McMahon as we speak. That's what they should have been looking at. So is McMahon that much better than anyone that we could sign in the winter? That's what they should have used in their consideration before making that trade for McMahon. So did they not predict that Bo Bichette was going to test the market? It was obvious he was testing the market. Did they not know that Bregman was going to opt out of his contract? They clearly do no work, and they clearly don't read the free agent market, because that's just another example of it. So they took on McMahon's contract for 3 years and has now taken them out of the bidding on better players. I mean, would you guys have preferred Okamoto to McMahon? I know I would have. Dave Rice is killing it today. Shout out to Dave Rice. He might be the star of the chat. It also appears that the rest of MLB doesn't think very much of the Yankee prospects, something I've been talking about for the past year. Well, that's on the Yankees, I'm afraid. Feather in your cap, Dave Rice. Hard to make an argument against that. You're right. Plus, teams are starting to pay attention. Teams are starting to pay attention that the Yankees heralded prospects that they have protected and hoarded and boasted about and fallen in love with, 90% of them are complete busts. You can go right through it. You can go right through it. Now you're looking at Anthony Volpe, complete bust. And the Yankees held him out of so many trades that would have made us a serious World Series contender. Peraza was supposed to be the next big thing. The Yankees didn't play him, didn't like him that much, got rid of him for nothing. Vivas, worth nothing. All these prospects that the Yankees love. Now you're looking at Jason Dominguez, and he was good. I liked him, but the Yankees don't like him. And he can't play left field. He plays it badly. Chance Adams, all these dudes. Clint Frazier, good dude, but did not work for him either. All these prospects that the Yankees are obsessed with, they hoard over, don't move. The rest of baseball's paying attention to that, going, well, am I going to get rid of my best player and take on some of these guys who the Yankees boast about, but might not be very good? It's the Yankees' development is very poor. Duran, good to see Duran in the chat. Been waiting for you, my guy. So the Cubs going to get Cabrera in the end, huh? Yep. Per Jesse Rogers, trade likely not to involve top-tier pitching prospects going back, position player prospects likely to go. It's not a good look. If he goes for just some mid-tier prospects, then the Yankees should have jumped on that. I just got back from a 200-mile drive to pick up my son from his army. Well, that's awesome, man. Best to you and your son. My son just qualified as a tank gunner. Oh, that's cool, man. Well, congratulations and best wishes to you and your son. And thanks again for hopping on. My best wishes to you, brother, and glad you're back. 200-mile drive. That is one hell of a drive, my guy. That's a hell of a drive. But that is certainly a love from father to son to go ahead and do that drive. So that's cool. So yeah, back to where we're at. Yep, Sherry says congrats to your son. That is awesome. Absolutely, big achievement there. Anything for my boy? Oh, that's lovely, man. True love right there. So yeah, Edward Cabrera is going to be a hub, and the Yankees are doing absolutely nothing, and we're no wiser as to what the Yankees' plans are. We are no wiser. So shout out to Michael Cerami for breaking that news. And yeah, Chris Cursor is now saying the Yankees have missed out on Edward Cabrera. So I'm sorry. I think the Yankees liked him. I think the Yankees liked him, but clearly the Yankees couldn't find a fit. I do agree that his elbow was a worry, and it certainly wouldn't have dissuaded me from making a trade, but it would have dissuaded me from giving up top prospects. But it's really tough to see where the Yankees pivot now. I don't really like Mackenzie Gore. I'm not a big fan of Alcantara. Those are the only other two names I've heard other than Freddie Peralta. I'm hoping that the Yankees are just waiting in the weeds to bring in Freddie Peralta. If they bring in Peralta, I'm a happy man. But without any information and with the way that Jack Curry kind of poured cold water on basically the entire offseason, then I can't say I'm overly optimistic. I can't say I'm overly optimistic they're going to do anything. Yeah, like that $3.7 million for someone who's potentially an ace, that's something that I think that they should have jumped in on. I mean, 28 of the 30 fastest changeups in the majors last year came from Edward Cabrera, and it's like 95, 96 mile an hour changeup with crazy movement. Dave Rice, Crashman traded away 14 prospects at the deadline, which I felt was a miscalculation. And it's not Monday morning quarterback, but I remember doing a podcast, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can testify to that. At the point that we made all those deals, I was looking at it going, are we 2 or 3 moves away from winning a championship? I said no. And that's why I was like, if I was being honest here, I'm not trading away 14 to 16 prospects just to save the season and make them a wild card team, a one and done wild card team. I didn't think it was worth it. And that's exactly what's happened. I didn't think it was worth it. I like the Bednar trade. I think that was the right thing to do. But I think that there were other deals. I think there was other deals that they could have held off on. Because at the end of the day, the reason why the Yankees sucked last year was a lot of it to do with Aaron Boone. A lot of it was to do with Aaron Boone. And it's really hard to continue to give up your farm system and make all these deals, 6 or 7 separate deals, just to cover up for your own manager's incompetence. It's really, really hard to continue to do that. And that's a lot. The reason why we were so bad over 6 to 7 weeks, a lot of it wasn't roster issues. A lot of it was Aaron Boone mismanaging the DJ LeMahieu and the Jazz Chisholm situation, mismanaging Anthony Volpe, mismanaging the lineup, everyone running the wrong bases and getting himself thrown out on base, and stupid errors and stupid performances and a lack of interest and a lack of motivation, all those things. a lot of that was Aaron Boone. And that's going to continue on until they take some responsibility on that. They wanted to see if DJ had anything left. Dude, he had nothing left. That was obvious. And it shouldn't have been at the sacrifice of Jazz moving from second to third, a position that he himself admitted that he was told he was never going to play third base that year. And so he didn't need to prepare to play for third base. So he was only preparing to play second. Then they moved him to third, and he injured his shoulder playing third base. So that's on the Yankees. That's not anyone else's responsibility. That's on the Yankees. That's just stupidity. So that's what I'm saying, man. It's just like you can make all the trades in the world, but if you've got a poor manager, then it's going to come back and bite you. And that's where we're at. So we've got a malfunctioning front office, a poor manager, and a roster that is only 2/3 complete. And we're already almost at $300 million. So we're in a whole heap of trouble. We're in a whole heap of trouble in this offseason. Per Barry Jackson, Marlins also spoke to Mets and Yankees about Cabrera. Marlins would like to acquire more talent at different positions and have pitching depth in the system, not a money-driven issue. Well, of course, it wouldn't be a money issue with $3.7 million. So I guess they weren't that impressed with the Yankees' positional talent. And I can't blame them because it's very poor. So I guess that leaves us with Alcantara and Mackenzie Gore. That's not exactly the most exciting, I have to say. Healing men's hearts. It will probably be Alcantara, Donald, or Gore, Cashman's smelly bargain bin. Oh, God. That bargain bin is stinking. Slackwolf Dominguez came up playing center field. That's not his fault. And Boone is still there because of Cashman. Hal doesn't care. He's enjoying his money. Spot on, my friend. Spot on. Dominguez came up playing center field. That's it. The Yankees forced him to play left field that he wasn't prepared for, and it made him look worse than he actually is. I agree with that. Boone is there just purely because of complacency and Brian Cashman's ego refusing to admit that he was wrong to get rid of Joe Girardi for him. And Hal Steinbrenner just takes no responsibility for anything. Absentee owner. He's the absentee landlord. Alcantara is number one upside. Really? Oh, let's look at the stats. He was 11-12 with a 5.36 ERA last year. What are we talking about? .536 ERA. That's not number one upside, my friend. Didn't pitch in 2024, 2023, 4.14 ERA. So he got worse. He had a 0 WAR. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Love you, Duran, but I don't understand. He doesn't have number one upside. 5.36 ERA is rough. 142 strikeouts and 174 innings. Oh, I don't know. I don't see number one stuff there. But we'll look at the Baseball Savant page. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because the Yankees love talking to the Marlins and those organizations because there's only like a handful of organizations that talk to Brian Cashman. The Pirates, the Rockies, and the Marlins are the three that he tends to go back to quite often because no one really else wants to discuss deals with him. So let's have a see. I'm not completely dismissing you, Duron, but at the moment, I'm not really seeing anything that would make me think that there's number one upside. Jeez, not when you have a 5.36 ERA. You didn't pitch in 2024 through injury. It's hard to make that case, I'm afraid. I'm having a look at his Baseball Savant page to see if there's anything that we could be excited about. No, I'm not saying that the Yankees are in on Sandy Alcantara, but he is kind of the kind of things that he is kind of the kind of guy that the Yankees usually look at. So I wouldn't be surprised. Terrible breaking stuff, which is normally something the Yankees don't like. They don't like someone that has bad breaking stuff. Okay, fastball. But yeah, the rest is not very good. So he was good in 2022, not good in 2023, terrible 2025. I don't think that's really trending the right way for Sandy Alcantara. Plus, he's 30. If he was like 24, 25, you could make that case that, all right, he's young, there's still upside. At age 30, I think he is who he is. I don't think there's too much he's going to get better in. So I'll have to respectfully disagree with you. Let's have a look at Mackenzie Gore. I can't say that I'm too high on him either. But that's another guy that the Yankees love. The Yankees absolutely love these dudes. Mackenzie Gore, here we go. What was his story? So in 2023, 7-10 with a 442. 2024, 10-12, 390. 5-5, 417. Better than Sandy Alcantara. And 4 years younger. Good breaking stuff. But poor in terms of barrel percentage, hard hit percentage. They hit the ball pretty hard off him. I don't know. I'm underwhelmed by him as well. His whip is gross. 1.4, 1.42, 1.35. That's rough. Quite like the strikeouts, so 185 strikeouts and 159 innings. I like that. I mean, if we get him for cheap, I wouldn't hate that as a fourth or fifth starter, but he's not Edward Cabrera. He's not Edward Cabrera. We've got Cruz in the chat. Salute to you, Cruz. Thanks for hopping on. Good afternoon to you, Cruz. We have to remember that the American League this year is strong, and the Yankees aren't doing anything. We'll be a laughing stock in Major League Baseball. Completely agree. Completely agree. I wouldn't say laughing stock in Major League Baseball because a lot of the media justify what the Yankees do in order to gain curry favor with Brian Cashman. And Jason Zillow and the Yankee media team. The Yankee media team is a bit of a mafia. You know, you have to simp for them in order to be able to report them and have access to them. So if you don't simp, you're kind of on the outside looking in. And obviously, if your career is in journalism, uh, on the beat, you want to simp in order so that they could get access to Brian Cashman and the Yankee agenda. So those that don't are kind of on the outside looking in. So that's probably why you don't get like guys like Heyman going in on them, and you don't get guys like Rosenthal going in on them. And those guys, Jeff Passan sucks them up some bad. They don't really admit the truth about what's going on with the Yankees, because they want access. It's as simple as that. Joel Sherman's pushed back on a lot of things that the Yankees do, and good for him, but there's very few that actually do it. You look at Chris Kirshner, you look at Joel Sherman. Those are the only two dudes that really kind of push back. The rest, Brandon Cunty and Feinstein, they all just follow the Yankee agenda. So you're not really going to get the honest truth. So that's why I'm not sure if they'll get a laughing stock. What you'll see is things being justified for underperformance. So if the Yankees start off slow off the blocks, which they probably will, there will be excuses. Oh, it wasn't a great marketplace. Oh, they were worried about such and such. Oh, it's the weather. Oh, it's injuries. There'll be a whole host of excuses. So, yeah, that's why this channel exists, because you're not going to get any agenda. You're just going to get the truth as we see it, and that's why I think a lot more people are going to YouTube and going to podcasts and stuff like that, because there isn't any kind of agenda there, Brewers are going to trade Peralta. He is a free agent of the season, won't extend him. They did the same. Yeah, I mean, I hope, Armand, that Peralta is next on the list, so that the Yankees actually do something. They need to do something. They can't just sit and do nothing. But they probably will demand. However, he is a rental, so I'm not sure if the moon necessarily. So, really interesting development. Shout out to those in the chat that broke that news. So there we go. That's what you get when you log in and watch the Pinstripe Chronicles. You get breaking trades such as Edward Cabrera going to the Marlins. That is big. Not a great look for the Yankees. That's another one bites the dust. You know what? That should be the theme tune of the Yankees offseason. Another one bites the dust. Dude. Another one bites the dust. There we go. That's the Yankee mantra. Instead of pride in pinstripes, it should be another one bites the dust. Armand, great show, Donald. Salute to you, Armand. Thank you very much for your support. Uncle Tats text me going, I can't make it. Do you want to postpone this, or do you want to do it yourself? And I was like, I'm going to go and do it myself. I am not going to let down my guys. I'm not going to let down this chat. So I wanted to step up for you guys. Good stuff, Donald. 2.5 hours. Going strong, man. And I do it for you guys. So if you guys could do the favor in return, hit that like button, share it out, hit the sub button, do all the good stuff. As soon as the Yankees actually do something, you will see me. Donald is a one-man wrecking ball. I'm carrying this shit on my shoulders, my guy. Carrying this shit. Right. As soon as the Yankees actually do something, you'll see me again. But that's not really a big statement considering the Yankees have done nothing. I'm not going to boost myself up that much, but you will see me again, hopefully on Friday with Uncle T, and on Monday, you guys have to be here for Monday because we will have some breaking news for you regarding the channel and a possible exciting thing that we were going to break regarding the channel on Monday. It's big news, big news. So you guys can speculate amongst yourselves what that means. But I'm looking forward to breaking that news on Monday. So hopefully you'll see me, myself, and Uncle Tats on Friday if he's okay. Monday we will have some breaking news for you regarding the channel. So do pay attention to that. It's very exciting. My very best to everybody. Thank you so much to everyone that stayed for 2.5 hours to listen to this dude rant about the New York Yankees. That's why I love you guys. Absolutely nothing but love from this end. Thanks so much for your support to me and to the channel. And I hope you enjoyed the stream. I will see you guys in a couple days. All the best. Have a great rest of your day. Salute. Go Yankees. And, how about the Yankees do something? That would be nice. Stevie B, great show. Thanks, man.